Welcome to Hot Topics After Dark with your host, Q Wiggins, architect and survival enthusiast, and Jeffrey DeShawn, strategic advisor, coach, and author. Let's get talking.
For those of you who are wondering, Hot Topics After Dark, what is this about? Well, for those of you to know me, for those of you to know Lady Q, we like to talk, and we got lots of opinions on lots of things.
Yes, we do.
And particularly with, if you hadn't noticed our our logo there, with the world literally seeming to be literally and figuratively on fire, there is a lot to talk about. And particularly, as I said, as a 100% Black person. So, we decided, well, Lady Q decided, let's be honest. I'm just be honest with you. Lady Q decided that, Jeffrey, we needed to have some of these conversations with the community. And so here we are. There's all these hot topics out there daily to talk about. And so we here to dish some tea and talk. Is that what you here for, Lady Q? What you here for?
Just a little bit. We could talk just a little bit about what's going on in the tea of the world, figuratively on fire.
On fire, honey. On
fire.
I got to cover this up. It can catch.
That's okay, baby.
So we are here, Hot Topics After Dark. Please join us. You can join us. You can call in. You got something to share. You can join us in our Zoom chat dialogue, in our chat box. The information is posted there. Dial into the conversation. Let us know what you're thinking, or let us know what some hot topics in your neck of the woods. Because, we are aware of some things that's going on here in the world. We're here in the Washington, D.C. area. Well, we know there's a lot going on.
We're in the Washington, D.C. We're in Washington, D.C. We're not in the area.
Washington, District of Columbia.
Yeah,
we are in the District of Columbia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very specific. Don't come looking for me, though. Don't come looking for me. I'm in the area.
I'm in the area.
And some of y'all still got too much time on your hands. I didn't learn about this driving around. This driving around is a new slip-off for this self-quarantine. I didn't talk to some of these friends that, just take a drive. Just take a drive.
Yeah.
Huh?
I say, yeah, folks be driving, but they always
folks be driving. Don't come look for me. I don't want to see you drive past my house, okay? Don't come looking for me. All right. Lady Q, what is our hot topic of the day? What is getting us started? I'll be on your Facebook page, girl. They be having your head exploding. I know that hat was flying off top of your head earlier today with some things. So
I say making people mad, but that's okay. People gonna have to be strong, because I don't think I should have to simmer it down to anybody. But I say what I feel like.
Hey, they can keep scrolling on.
Scrolling on, just scroll on. But people got to say what needs to be said that don't seem like anybody saying it.
There's a lot that don't seem like anybody saying.
True.
What you got to say that need to be said today?
So I want to talk about how these businesses are opening in Georgia and a couple of these other states that they are opening up in. So that's what I want to. That's the first thing on my mind.
It's something to talk about. Normally we like to be early. It's the early enrollment, right? Early admission. With hot, special events, we want to be first in line. Ticket sales. Them Janet tickets was going on sale, and that concert ain't happening. She canceled on a good day, so COVID girl said bye to Janet's concert.
She was gone. She wasn't playing these games with y'all quick.
No, Janet wasn't playing. So we normally like early. I'm not feeling this early return.
I don't know if we always like early. So I
know Americans love to brand things as early as positive. Early enrollment, early submission, early acceptance. We love early. The seats go early. Don't wait in line. We normally love early.
But we don't like early.
Oh.
And this is just another one of those conditions where I think it's a good idea to be late.
Tell us more, ladies. You tell us more about this. About this, it might be smart for us to stay, culturally traditionally a little late. We know, like, we normally a little late.
This one. Like tap into it. Like a lot of times people try to make you feel bad about things that come natural for you, but the people I know who love their jobs, it's because they got a little freedom about how they come in. They could stay late, but maybe they don't have to be there promptly. Okay, and they can be workaholics and work an extra hour, but they might not want to be there promptly. Okay, so this is another one of those cases where I think it might do to be a little bit late.
It's interesting to me too, because you put it that way, around culturally, it's black folk often a little late. So this is one where we maybe don't need to change that behavior. I found it interesting too that white folks rarely don't like ain't pushing black folks to the to be present for the opening bell.
Yeah,
it's a big thing when black folks get invited to the opening bell.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes me think, here we are talking about the opening bell of America, and for the first time in a long time, we pushing black folks, and poor folk. Leave my other poor brothers and sisters out that ain't black, but we start with black folk, out front for the opening bell. We gotta open this bell, gotta ring. We need y'all out front. You don't never want me out front for nothing.
Never.
Nothing. I'm just like things to make you go, huh? Because y'all ain't want Stacey out front down there in Georgia. Y'all had the opportunity. You wanted to send a Negro to work, honey. You could have sent Stacey Abrams straight to work in that government mansion out front, but y'all ain't send her. But now somehow you want to send us out to work early for this opening bell.
Yeah, and Chester Pond goes first because it's easy to sacrifice them.
Oops, say that again, Lady Q. What you say? Because you chess and all these things. You play smart people games.
Chess. Anybody who's ever played chess, they know what they know. Who goes out first? The pawn always goes first.
Ooh.
To set
I don't know nothing about chess, but I ain't never liked that word pawn.
Pawn. Yeah, pawn.
Usually you already know every time you walk through them doors, you about to give it up and you likely ain't getting it back.
It's a pawn. It's a pawn. Like clearly we are in a game of chess.
My sisters and brothers who do hair in North Carolina, you heard that. You's a pawn. I ain't trying to gear you up and not have you to take you back. Okay?
Here's the ha-ha.
Give it to me.
We can choose not to be the pawn.
Girl. Now you tell me how we do this, because I know my people gotta eat.
Well, I take that back a little bit because we got a couple of problems with choosing whether or not we get to be the pawn. It's this funny thing about choice. Choice is kind of an illusion, right? So we know that a lot of Black businesses just could not get the funding to go back to opening their businesses. So all of this stimulus money, all these taxes we pay, big businesses don't pay a lot of taxes, but all of these taxes that we pay, we are not getting much of the money for businesses, right? So you got these salons and they got rents and mortgages. The shop owners got rents and mortgages, and they're about to lose their shops because they still got bills due. The rent is still due. For some reason, the government has not been able to figure out how to stop rent and mortgages from being invoiced to the clients every month. So that's
I got an email today for office rent for the shared space I have not been in months.
Yes.
I understand.
Still going to be charged. And so here's the ha-ha. The people who work in those shops, if they are forced to open those shops, the people who work in those shops can no longer apply for unemployment because they can work. So they can, and mind you, most of the 1099ers cannot even get the unemployment that they said.
Hold on, Lady Q. Hold on a second. I need you to rewind that back and walk me through this though, honey. So, my good girlfriend in North Carolina works at a shop owned by Miss Mary. And Miss Mary decided to open her door back up because Miss Mary only take one client a day anyway. Or
don't have any money to keep rent going because they're not giving her any support.
Good girlfriend can no longer take unemployment because Miss Mary decided to open back up the shop because Miss Mary, who owns the shop, only takes one client a day. That's a problem. That's a problem. So my good girlfriend who got 3 children of her own, who need to be at home with them 3 beautiful babies,
don't have any school or anything right now. Remember that. So now she has to provide health care for these kids. Not health care, I'm sorry, daycare. Because remember, they would be in school normally, and they could pay the school for after school care.
So she can't get her unemployment because she's going to have to go back to work if the shop open back up. Ain't no daycare or school or nothing if you're not a first responder. And then you still got to pay for it.
Yeah, they didn't open up the daycares for them. But they haven't given them any additional support because they have to receive daycare throughout the entire day versus maybe the end of the day like they were doing before. So that's another layer of cost laid on to them with this.
Well, what it sounds like to me is just pure bad planning. And as usual, we can rush things when the impact is disproportionately on Black people and poor people.
Well, I ain't too sure that it's poor planning. I think it's plan.
Well, I don't think they care. It ain't no planning. It's like
I think they know exactly. Women need they care for their kids. Like nobody missed that.
Yeah, these are the things that bother me. Because when I look at Georgia and I look at that list of industry openings and I see the prioritization of barbershops, hair salons, and these kind of things. Not only so there's one recognition that, wage workers of this type, right, might be able to figure out a way to still make an income, right? Okay. But then when I look at who disproportionately demographically makes up who those wage workers are, I'm still like, I don't know. I mean, I like to look cute. We ain't doing our best today, but I don't know if my hair being done and having a fresh haircut is the trade-off for air.
Yeah, but there are people. Essential workers make up 55% of the essential workers in Atlanta, in Georgia, are people of color. So 55% of the essential workers currently, before they add all these people from the salons and the barbershops and who work at the gym, before they add them, 55% of the essential workers are people of color.
I had to grab my phone because I tweeted out the other day when I first saw, when I saw this announcement about these states reopening. Poor and Black and brown bodies, you get back to work.
Yep.
It is the American way, or has been. Question is, will we allow it to continue to be so? And then somebody replied, at John the Wiki replied, back to work, those are half the folks still at work, public facing.
Yep.
So it's interesting to me that just less than a month ago, we were in a total state of health crisis and pandemic. And being a couple weeks into having data and cultural acceptance that Black people are disproportionately being infected with and dying from COVID, that now we have a chunk of states in the South and Midwest, and particularly in the South, racist South, who are like, okay, we ready to open. Oh, and by the way, you industries where you black people mostly work, y'all go first.
Mm-hmm. Because like it's a general part that's okay with those numbers. It's like, oh, the irresponsible black people are dying. But here's
let's talk about that narrative. Here's
the thing we have to look at. When this thing first started, when the cities first started to get locked down, and you would walk in Walmart, the cashiers didn't have dividers. They just started putting those dividers up the last 2 weeks. The cashiers didn't have masks, especially not company-issued masks. So now we see those things. But the first few weeks when the people who died last week, who were up to that point died last week, and we saw those numbers come out that showed us exactly what we thought, they were at those jobs without proper PPE. And they're saying that, all of these barbershops and these salons have to have all this PPE requirement. Well, how are they getting PPE and the hospitals can't get PPE?
Let's talk about that. I mean, here's the thing. Like, so, the social scientist in me, right? The social scientist in me, which I am, thank you, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and the Howard University School of Social Work, says a couple things when you say that, it flags, right? So we know that industry-wise, regardless, right, across industry, the criteria for business, criteria for accessing, industry, criteria for being able to be licensed, credential, always sort of elevates, right? When it comes, you start talking about black people, in particular poor people, right? So the cost of entry, right, is always higher. And so if you find yourself, one, already being economically struggling because you had these weeks of no revenue,
no
because your shop been closed, and then now in order, you're saying, okay, y'all can go back to work, but we're not certain the health environment is actually conducive to you going back to work. And then two, you have to actually spend more money to reopen because there's a whole list of requirements of PPE and checks and balances, one person time, all this cleaning that you now have to do. Well, who is going to be able to afford to do that having had weeks of no revenue or income, right?
Bills still do.
Bills still do. And like, who's going to be able to do that? Who's going to be able to do that? Subsidiaries of big box retailers. And let's talk about this. Because this is the big secret in America about folks who are surprised that these big box retailers got majority of those loans. Well, what we don't know, we think it's funny and cute when we see the commercials and when we watch Shark Tank, but many of those big box retailers subcontract to and have bought up small and local business enterprises. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing about many of those small and local business enterprise operators and owners. They don't look like you and I. And so as we look at, who benefits from this, if you're affiliated with a big box chain retailer, right, you're going to have access to getting that PPE and those other devices. You'll have access to remedy, right, up the food chain, legal, protect, all that kind of stuff. But you're for mom and pop, if you miss, if you Auntie Debbie in North Carolina, baby, your shops are, you are your back office and everything. And so it's just, again, when I look at the landscape of rushing to open without a medical clearance and all clear, right, true scientific based, data-based, all clear, on the reality that black people are disproportionately being impacted, no surprise, right, on add the economic overlay of lack of revenue and income, all I'm hearing is a setup for poor people, black people, and small business. Set up for what? Failure and demise.
The okie-doke. The okie-doke.
Because in a month from now, do you have a business? Do you still, do these people, so will these people month, 2 months, 3 months from now have businesses. And what I postured today, what we already knew about small business enterprise, and particularly minority-owned business enterprise in this country, is that, yeah, there's a boom in startups, but there's no sustainability. And so we already have this cycle where there's a lot of...
Yeah, a huge percentage of the businesses that start, end within 5 years. Because it's I'm a business owner. So I can tell you 80% of the job that I do has nothing to do with what I do. And it's times when you do not get paid. It depends on the business line, of course. But it's so many things that you wouldn't even guess become a problem that you never would have guessed would have been a problem before.
Yeah.
Or an expense, rather, not necessarily a problem.
So why, and I know folks are out here doing this in the philanthropic space, and, like we're having this conversation, but why isn't there just as much attention in the media on walking folks through understanding, like instead of 24-hour news of the president's latest news conference, rant, or what have you, or these crazy governors or some crazy pastor, how about can I get CNN, MSNBC, like an actual walkthrough of somebody from SBA, literally on TV, walking through how to access capital, literally walking through because what happens in these emergency moments is the tools of access, right? America's all about tools and access change. And so if you don't have the access to the information, the right information.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. The information is there. As a business owner, if you start to talk to other business owners, the information is there. But we not getting the loans, period. When you have people with relationships like Ruth Chris, my little business can't compete with Ruth. Ruth killing them. He killing the game. What the? They not even looking at me. They not even gonna make as much money from me as they are Ruth. So Ruth is gonna get the small business loan.
Let's talk about that though. Why is that? And this is where I think Black people in America need to wake up. America is about selling image and brand. Ruth Chris is an image and brand that is a part of a larger. That's a part of a larger conglomerate. What we care about is the 1% and the brands that make money for the 1%. Now, when you look at who is making Ruth Chris their money, that's another conversation I'd be loved, to have about that as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Ruth Chris will definitely not be in business for a long time because I would not be sitting in a closed space eating a meal. If I do get a meal, first of all, I might do a little local. I don't even think they had the best steak.
Well, it sounds like they got their transition.
Much, but that's another story.
Sounds like they might have got Ruth Chris might have got their transition money, huh?
Exactly, because they've lost a lot of support. First of all, from even taking a small business loan. You see the guy from Shake Shack, he gave it back.
Oh, did he?
Wait, the poor people mad. They buy hamburgers all the time. I can't be making poor people mad. Here, take this money back.
I need them poor people buying them $6 and $7 hamburgers. They good as Nah, I ain't gonna lie. Them good as but
yeah, exactly. But he don't want to lose your business. So I thought that was a smart business move because he understands that his base will not be okay with that.
He's thinking long. He plans to have a long-term future. And I think that's a nice transition because I think when you look at all of this, whether you look at openings in Georgia and, the industries that they target there, the president's response, you can see where there's expectation of sort of long-term gains versus short-term makeup, right? So where we project to have losses, right, in the long run, whether it be lives or industry, y'all open. Because we expecting y'all poor people to open gonna die anyway. Y'all
so
open.
let's talk about
those industries are short term, right? So that industry revenue, that's hoping that those people who did get a stimulus check gonna go get their hair done.
Yeah, because we just got the $1,200, right? Yeah.
And turn that money right back into federal government through the apparatuses, right? So y'all go ahead and help us shore up this shortfall, because
But
y'all ain't gonna be
Jeffrey-
here in the long term anyway.
But Jeffrey, I have an idea.
Come on with it. What's your
Here's the idea. I was listening to it was a pastor from Atlanta today. What's his name, Jeffrey? I told you about it.
Oh,
Jamal.
yes. Oh, Pastor
something.
Bryant.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Giselle's
he had the
ex-husband.
most brilliant idea.
Giselle Bryant's ex-husband.
Yes. Yes. Great.
Former First Lady Giselle Bryant's husband.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And so he had a brilliant idea. Freedom paper towel is what I did for my black business. He basically said, find a black business, spend that stimulus money on some black businesses. You don't even have to spend all of it on a black business, but spend some of it in black businesses.
Well,
The business I patronized was Freedom Paper Towel and True Detergent. They two of the biggest black brands that I know of. I used to buy Carol's daughter, but Carol sold her brand for good purpose, but
no.
it's not black owned. I want to make sure
real. This is America.
We're going to have a huge problem being employed. And black people are more likely to hire black people, just like every other race. So the only way that we're going to stay employed is if we employ us more. And the way we employ us more is to buy more from us. Because right now, I don't care what your politicians tell you, what Trump tell you, they all full of shit.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line is this.
The
bottom line is
economy
this.
will not bounce back quickly.
The bottom line is this. If nobody has been watching, right, fear has caused the world to resort to tribalism. Everybody is retreating into sub-tribes for safety, right? And so I find it interesting because, the Black American, the American Negro is one of the few that, is not able to automatically do that because we were already pre-subdivided, right? And so when it comes to trying to re-engineer this universal black experience, it's quite difficult. But baby, right now is a moment that as black folk, as a working class black person of privilege, I'm on, my education, economic privilege, right? When I see Diddy, on his social media and on Revolt TV with Pastor Brian and other black notables were there having a similar conversation to black people. I recognize that a call for action is going out because here's the thing, honey, we are the only people that actually consistently spend money with black people, right? Everybody else buys, takes from us, right?
Yeah.
Purchases through, purchase ours through, some entity. But when it comes to who's dedicated to doing business within the community, we are the only ones. And so if we don't shore up ourselves, ain't nobody to do it. So if I don't make sure Aunt Debbie stays in business in North Carolina, I know who ain't making sure Aunt Debbie stay in business in North Carolina. But
take a look at this. Take a little quick glance at this. The only place, the sure place that black people will always spend black is the salons and the barbershops. And who's most at risk right now?
But see, that's what I got to say. I got a problem with this, Lady Q. I got a problem with all this. That's why I say a set up, Lady Q. Because if we already predisposed to go run that way anyway, you done put a little change in our pocket, and we are predisposed
Jeffrey,
to.
but we don't. I send my beautician money despite me even going to see her right now.
Well, that's because you blessed and got it. A lot of folk ain't got it because they ain't working.
What?
that money to send to your beautician. Bless you, but that's because you have it. But a lot of folk ain't got it to send.
I agree. And I'm speaking from privilege, but a lot of us may have $20 to send our beauticians. And I'm saying we need to be supporting them right now. We need to figure out a way to support them because they have traditionally been there for us. I don't know how many times you've ever had to do it, but I know if I told my loctician, hey, I got a job interview, I got this going on, but I don't have any money today. You know, because sometimes it get like that. She'll still do my hair. Now you don't use that card a lot, but it's this. I don't know about men, but women have this relationship with their beauticians that it's like if you leave your beautician, it's like breaking
we have that relationship with barber. No, it's a yeah. Think about it. We're men, so it is a personal.
Yes.
Like for men, for a lot of men, the barber chair, literally, y'all brothers know what I mean, is the most intimate relationship with another man, right? That can happen. And so no, I totally understand and get it. It's just for me, when I look at the long-term landscape of this lineup, all I see is more continued loss and demise, right? Yeah. So I see folks running back to work in a climate that is not healthy for them to go back to work, given what they do.
Agreed.
In an economic climate that's not sustainable for them economically. And so what I see coming, it doesn't take rocket science or any data to see an uptick in Black communities with COVID infections, right? A month from now. And 3 months from now, less Black businesses. And what do we know about those Black businesses? As you offered, when it comes down to social safety net, despite America's campaign to the rest of the world that the American Negro is welfare and government dependent, the American Negro is actually more dependent on our social and civic safety net from within our community. So most of my cousins are not on, friends and community, whomever, are not on public assistance that they going to get that check every month. Now the public assistance that they are on is called Jeffrey every month, right? When I was working in schools and we would often do service projects for the kids around haircuts, beginning of the year, end of the year, hair, all that hygiene. You know who came and worked with us? The barber shop owners, the beauty salon owners, the corner store owners gave us beauty products to share with the kids when I was working in school. You know, when we needed to do food bank for the seniors, it was our houses of worship. You know, when we needed to do community cleanup, it was the retirees who ran the neighborhood association. So the thing that I like to say is that as Black people, we know this and we do this intrinsically, but something happens when we get involved with this government system that has promised a whole bunch of shit, but never delivered on the shit that they promised. We go back to folding our hands and waiting on these motherfuckers who promised us 40 acres in a mule and the shit wasn't real and they never still got it. So what I like to say to Black people, I think you're right, is that we know what we need to do in moments like this. We need to trust ourselves and do it. The problem is Black people need to get back to trusting other Black people.
Yep.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. Because, honey, if you live in the state of Georgia, you know you ain't got no business running back to work in a social environment where COVID is still running rampant with as little as we know about this disease. You layer on the addition of we know Black folks documented now are being infected and dying disproportionately. So I don't know. I get
here go that choice. That's that choice thing again, though. That's that choice thing. We're speaking from our privilege.
Well, now
we don't know what they are. We don't know if they getting ready to lose their house. We don't know if their kids need diapers and food.
Lady Q, I'm there with you, honey. And so I own my privilege. And this is what I'm saying to the larger Black community. I'm not talking to that brother and sister that has an immediate need that they got to supply because that baby's crying, okay? I'm talking to the larger Black community. I'm talking to you and I saying, We need to leverage our privilege to be a voice for those brothers and sisters. Get them the PPE. If Aunt Debbie decides she need to go back to work, I ain't gonna tell Aunt Debbie not to go back to work. Get Aunt Debbie the PPE. Give Aunt Debbie an opportunity to have equal playing field to access that financial capital they've made available so she can purchase and get what she needs to get. That's what I'm saying.
Send Aunt Debbie some money if you got it.
Huh?
Send Aunt Debbie some money if you got it.
Oh, well, that's what I'm doing. But I'm saying, as Black people, we have to recognize and acknowledge that this is a systematic failure. And therefore, we also need a systematic response. Me sending Aunt Debbie some money is great. But also what we need to do is set up a systematic response so that Aunt Debbie ain't 3 months from now dependent on a rent party. We've been here before, Black people. We done moved beyond rent parties. We have paid our equity in America. And at minimum, we should be able to guarantee what? Food, shelter, and access to the health coverage that's needed. That's all I'm saying, Lady Q.
Agreed.
Woo! Girl, Lady Q, you got me worked up. I gotta go out here and figure out how to survive in this mess.
This crazy pandemic going back to work got us worked up. Worked
up. Okay. So, Lady Q, as we bless the people, I know you got a survivor tip for us. You got something good for us. Bless the people. What you got to tell us? What you got for us is gonna help us.
Listen,
equipped us with something we can do. We know what they're trying to prevent us from doing. What can you help us can do?
I don't know what's going on. So my plan is to just prepare for whatever the fuck comes my way. So I'm a survival enthusiast. That don't mean I'm an expert. That just means I think about and try to prepare for whatever situation comes up in a survival type environment. So I feel like we don't know what's gonna happen. So I went and got bunches and bunches.
What is that? Is that the cannabis, Lady? Lord? Is that what is it?
Honey, listen.
Is it the cannabis, girl? You gonna be hot?
No, this is not cannabis, but I got some of that too. What? But these are beans.
Beans. Okay.
Beans. I got cannabis. I got, because you never know, you need cannabis too. But that's,
Y'all don't go looking for Lady Q. Don't drive past her house. She might throw some beans out for you. Tell us about the ways. What can we do with these beans?
So here's the thing about beans. Beans, dry beans, which these are, they keep for a very long time. So they kind of like canned goods in a sense, but canned goods have a lot of salt and other preservatives in them.
We don't need that soda. Okay.
But beans, you don't need a lot of water. You don't need you don't need to be doing a lot of cooking with them. You can put these in whatever and put some water in a cup and let them sit overnight. And then the next morning, you only got to boil them for 10 minutes. And they ready to eat.
Okay, just like old people soak the beans overnight.
Yeah, soak them overnight.
See, I know you're supposed to do it. I didn't know why you were supposed to do it.
And I'm going to tell you why you want to soak them over boil them. If anything ever happens where there's a water shortage, or you got to go, I don't know what's going on. So you don't know necessarily what's going on. So you want to be prepared to not have to use as much water to cook, because it's a lot of stuff you're gonna need to use. Obviously, like a heat source for. Because to get water, you got to boil that. So you're always gonna have to boil. So you're gonna need some water. But the beans allow you a source of protein. It's one of the few proteins that you can sit over to the side in a dry space and not need electricity to keep it safe.
Okay.
To see meat, you need that. You can't sit that outside. I mean, you can smoke it and all of that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But even that go bad. Smoke food don't stay that long. So, but these beans keep. So, and they cheap. These beans be $2 for a bag. You can get this many beans for $2.
Well, when I
Yeah,
go do my next
beans
supply
for you
run, we
for
getting some beans.
$20. Beans are not expensive at all.
Okay. Y'all heard it from Lady Q. If you're trying to stock up on, we going old school black people. Y'all know
Old
this.
school.
Get the beans. Every time y'all went to grandma's house, there was a pot of some beans on the stove. Always some beans.
Beans, baby.
Soaking or all ready to go. So, you know, sound like we just need to pull out the black book in our brain and get back to some things that we know. That's what I hear you saying, Lady Q.
You know, I hate you, Jeffrey. I hate your face. So are you gonna close us out? Are you gonna close us out with an excerpt?
Yes. Well, we will close it out for those of you that don't know. Jeffrey DeShawn has published my first published work, ebook, No Safe Space,
baby.
No Safe Space. My journey from little black boy, if you didn't know, to black gay man in America. Yeah, I said it. A black, full-grown black gay man in America. You can get it on Amazon, Apple Books, Kindle Nook, and anywhere where ebooks are sold. And so I'm gonna close us out with my intro excerpt. We need some affirmation after all this craziness we've talked about, the world on fire, right? And so at the end of this, this too shall pass. And as this passes, we will be able to reflect and know my struggle has ended. I am at harmony with myself. My struggle has been defined by a lack of belief in myself and my possibility that was passed along from my birth through my upbringing. My struggle has not been with the world at large, but has been within my heart, mind, and spirit. The lens of self-doubt has been a blockade to my own liberation and transformation. The negative mindset manifest through words and deeds is only a symptom of the root cause of my struggle and pain. I am enough. I am equipped with all I need to achieve the manifestation of love, light, and God's grace in my life. Y'all heard that? You are enough. All right. Well, thank you, Lady Q, for this stimulating conversation with our Hot Topics After Dark. This is Jeffrey DeShawn, vision coach and author. You are enough. Go get you some. And this is Lady Q, architect, survival extraordinaire, and resident mother.
Yes.
See you next time.